Hi there, this is Ronnie coming at you with a video. Last week, sort of week past on Monday, we finished, or we came to a sort of stopping point in Jason's game of Corporation called Can You Hear Me Breathing? And what sort of happened was we'd reached a kind of point, and unfortunately one of our players had to sort of drop out, and I think Jason sort of took the decision that we'd left it at a nice point. There's stuff to do, and we can come back to it at some other point, which I hope we will. So as usual, sort of split this into three with regards to the scenario, how I feel about the scenario, how I feel the game went, in regards to the GM and the other players, and what do I think of the system. I really like the scenario. Corporation is very much a sort of cyberpunk with a sort of black comedy sort of view of not even corporate America, but the sort of global corporations, and sort of projecting that by the time of the game they pretty much run the show. So it's been slightly prescient. And there are a multitude of ways to play Corporation. I mean, you could of course take the sort of black comedy out completely and play it very, very seriously as a very serious sort of cyberpunk game. I think its problem there is it I don't think it fits that sort of mold. But black comedy of one kind or another. Now, when Becky's running Corporation, which she's doing at the moment, it is completely over the top. I mean, the dial isn't been turned up all the way to 11. It's like 106, plucking a number out of thin air. It's just insanely over the top. And we're kind of along for the ride, and it's a lot of fun. Jason didn't go that way. There was still humour. There's a lot of humour actually in his game, but it was a little darker, a little more sort of direct. Now here's the thing about it: neither style is wrong, and they were both equally enjoyable. I was enjoying the scenario a lot. It was interesting. There was a sort of time phase where we were sort of going back and forward in time, but there was actually a reason for it, and when that reason became apparent, it was like ooh, that was rather nice actually. It was really well done. I really enjoyed it. The scenario was fun. It was in summation, we found ourselves involved in all kinds of shenanigans, and we kept sort of phasing between time periods. It turned out that none of those time periods really existed. We were in a sort of comatose state, and what we've been experiencing up until the point where we woke was all dream sequence. in essence. So a shared dream, sort of collective dream sequence. And we woke up and found out that we had basically been declared dead, and we weren't all there because we'd been used. Essentially, we'd been scrapped for parts. So it was quite intense. So there was that mixture of sort of dark comedy, but sci-fi action, sort of cyberpunk action, and even a tinge of horror. And it was very well done, and we were really getting into it. With regards to the how it went with the GMs and players, I really like playing with this group. I enjoy it. Whether I'm there as a player or as a GM, I'm due to GM again after Becky's game runs. Haven't decided what I'm doing yet, but I'm due to do it. But I really enjoy it. I think myself and Phil and Becky and Jason, we got on very well, and we bounce off each other. And sometimes the GMs really don't have to do an awful lot because the three players are just spitballing, bouncing ideas off each other, and just and the GM sometimes is just running with those ideas, which is great. It feels more alive as a scenario in a game. I must admit, I mean, I've been GMing now for some 30 years, and I am in awe at the ability. Phil's a great GM. Jason is a fantastic GM. Becky's a fantastic GM. I sometimes feel like the junior in there, even though I've been gaming for so long. But we bounce off each other really well, and it was good fun. It really was. Corporation as a system. If I didn't have Interface Zero, which I've said this in other parts. Cyberpunk is a system, a genre I can run, but it's not my wheelhouse. It's not one I'm as good at as others. As other genres. But I like if I didn't have Interface Zero, which is a Savage Worlds cyberpunk setting that I've got, I would probably get Corporation just to fill that gap, because the system is simple enough. It's fairly straightforward, and there's some flexibility with it as well. I mean, it's attribute plus skill. It's attribute plus skill, and you're trying to roll under on 2d10. But you're not the skills are not necessarily tied to an attribute. So there's some flexibility depending on the circumstance, which attribute and skill you tie together for a particular check. And it's a good wee system. It's great. As I say, if I didn't have a dedicated sort of cyberpunk system, I would consider getting it. But I really enjoy it. I really enjoy playing it, which is why I'm playing it. I'm playing in Becky's. Because I like the system, and we're doing that, but more of that later. But I had a ball playing it. I think it was a great scenario, good players, great GM, enjoyable system, fantastic plot, really good experience. So thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll be back soon with another video.